At 5 minutes before Henslow Academy's founder's bell was due to ring, Nessa Arden stood at the edge of the assembly hall with a cardboard box of student notebooks pressed to her ribs and heard her own disgrace announced before anyone bothered to look for her face. The hall glittered with old money, mothers in pearls, governors in dark suits, alumni who had learned early that kindness could be performed in public and withdrawn in private. Above the stage, the school motto was carved into black oak: "Truth needs no permission." Nessa knew the translation by heart. She had dusted those letters as a scholarship girl, and later she had taught frightened 13-year-olds to say them as if the words belonged to them. Tonight, truth had been replaced by a printed statement. Headmaster Oswin Pratt stood beneath the bell rope, silver-haired and sorrowful in the way powerful men became sorrowful after choosing a victim. Beside him, Graham Fenner held Camille Hartwell's hand with the polished tenderness he had never shown Nessa before witnesses. Camille's cream gown skimmed the floor, and sympathy already gathered around her like perfume. "It pains us," Pratt said, "to inform our community that irregularities have been discovered in the Henslow Hardship Fund. Until the matter is settled, Miss Nessa Arden has been relieved of all tutoring responsibilities." A purple notebook slid from Nessa's box and slapped the parquet floor. Heads turned. Then all of them did. For one terrible second, she saw the room decide what she was. A poor woman near charity money, a former scholarship girl who had forgotten gratitude, a discarded fiancée making herself embarrassing by still existing. Graham saw her last. His expression changed, not into regret, but into practiced concern. "Nessa," he said softly, "you should not have come." "I work here." "Not anymore," Camille murmured. Nessa bent to pick up the notebook, because if she did not perform one ordinary action, she might break in front of the entire Founders Circle. On the first page, the student had written the essay title Nessa had suggested: "Things that Survive Being Misnamed." "Where are the ledgers?" Nessa asked. Pratt's mouth tightened. "This is not the place." "It became the place when you said my name from a stage." Graham stepped closer. "Do not make this worse. If you embarrass yourself, the governors may press criminal charges." A hand closed around Nessa's elbow. Her Aunt Eudora leaned in, smelling of violet powder and stale wine. Eudora had raised Nessa after her father died, if raising meant teaching a child to apologize before entering rooms. "Smile," Eudora whispered. "You still have one way out." Nessa pulled free. "What have you done?" "Matthias Lennox is here." The name moved through her like cold water. The billionaire who had bought failing schools and made boards fear audits more than poverty. Cold, unmarried, rarely photographed. A man donors hated because he looked at generosity as if it might be evidence. Why would that matter to me? Eudora's smile trembled with excitement and fear. "Because he has agreed to marry you." The bell rope shivered above the stage, though no one touched it. "No," Nessa said. "You will say yes. The Arden debts are no longer private. Your father's cottage, the old bursary lease, everything attached to your name goes into seizure by morning unless the Lennox settlement is signed tonight. Marriage gives him standing to freeze it." "You pledged my home?" "Your home," Eudora's whisper sharpened. "Your father left confusion, not a home. I kept you alive." "You kept me useful." Eudora's fingers bit into her arm. "If you refuse, the West Dormitory loses its winter meal subsidy, while the fund remains under investigation. Your little saints go home to empty cupboards, and you go to court alone." Nessa looked at the scholarship board. The girls had decorated it with paper leaves that afternoon. Now it was covered with black cloth. Then the back doors opened. Matthias Lennox entered without hurry. He was taller than she expected, and colder than any photograph had suggested. His black coat was unbuttoned, his tie plain, his face composed in lines so still they seemed carved rather than born. He did not look around for admiration. He looked first at the covered scholarship board, then at Graham's hand in Camille's, then at the notebook in Nessa's fingers. Only then did he look at her. Something crossed his face too quickly to name. Pain, perhaps, disciplined into silence. Pratt descended from the stage. "Mr. Lennox, we were not told you had arrived." "No," Matthias said. "You were not." Graham smiled. "This is a school matter. I'm sure your office can review it in the morning." "Your office sent the documents to mine at 4:14 this afternoon," Matthias replied. "They were interesting." Eudora pushed Nessa forward. "My niece understands the necessity." Matthias did not look at Eudora. "Your niece answers for herself." That should have comforted Nessa. Instead, it frightened her, because his calm sounded like a locked door being closed gently. "Do you expect me to trust you?" she asked. "No." The answer startled her. He offered a plain brown folder. "My counsel is in the library, with a registrar and an independent solicitor who has never worked for me. There are protections drafted in your favor. Separate accounts. Separate residence if you choose. Return of any property attached to your name if the audit confirms fraud. A dissolution path at your request after the emergency injunction is secured." The hall heard only fragments. Marriage, registrar, dissolution. "What do you get?" Nessa asked. "Time." Something in the way he said it made her skin prickle. Pratt hurried forward. "Miss Arden is under suspicion. The governors cannot permit." "Permit?" Matthias turned his head, and the single word froze him. "I hold the emergency lien on Henslow's operating debt. If you attempt to remove Miss Arden before the audit, I will call the lien due tonight and file for administrative control before breakfast." Graham made a sound of disbelief. "You would destroy the school for her?" "No," Matthias said. "I would prevent men like you from using it as a weapon." Nessa disliked him already. His power, his certainty, the way everyone stepped back from him as if money had gravity. She disliked most of all that he had given her, a choice shaped like a cliff. But he had not touched her elbow. He had not told her to smile. "I will read every word before I sign," she said. "Good." In the library, beneath shelves of prize books no one had opened in years, the solicitor Annika Belrose read each protection aloud. Nessa changed 3 clauses. Matthias agreed to everyone without negotiation. When Eudora tried to enter, Annika shut the door in her face. The ceremony took 6 minutes. There were no flowers, no blessing, no music. Nessa stood beside a table carved with generations of schoolchildren's initials and entered a marriage she had not imagined that morning. Matthias promised the same with a stillness that made the words sound older than law. When the registrar asked for rings, he placed a narrow band of unadorned white gold on the table. "My grandmother's," he said. "You do not have to wear it." Was she kind? The question seemed to strike him somewhere unguarded. "To me, once." Nessa took the ring because refusing in that room would not make her freer. When Matthias slid it onto her finger, his touch was careful, almost reverent, and gone before she could resent its warmth. Afterward, while Annika filed the emergency injunction, the founder's bell rang midnight through the walls. It had once meant curfew, chapel, examination, morning. Tonight it sounded like a verdict. Nessa was married to a stranger the whole county feared, and when she turned from the window, she found Matthias looking at the old class photograph above the fireplace. Nessa was in the second row, too thin, with hair badly cut by Eudora in the kitchen. Near the edge of the frame, half hidden behind a taller boy, stood a dark-haired scholarship child with wary eyes. Matthias looked away before she could follow his gaze. By morning, The story had escaped. Cold billionaire marries disgraced tutor during school scandal. Arden girl saved by Lennox fortune. Charity thief becomes rich man's bride. Nessa read the headlines in Matthias's car, while Henslow's Gates retreated behind them. He sat opposite with documents and a pen, silent. Not once did he ask if she was all right. She found that preferable to false sympathy, and maddening for the same reason. "You can say it," she said. "Say what?" "That I should ignore them." "Should" is an expensive word. People use it when they want the injured to be convenient. She closed the tablet. At the magistrate's office, reporters shouted that she had sold herself and stolen from hungry children. Matthias stepped out first, then turned back and offered his hand. Nessa looked at it, thought of every woman made respectable only by a rich man's touch, and shook her head. He withdrew at once and stood aside. Nessa stepped from the car alone. Inside, the clerk examined the injunction 3 times. While they waited, Matthias took a call and said, "My brother is not to receive copies. If Bram comes to the office, keep him in reception. If he threatens litigation, offer him water." Nessa almost smiled. "Water seems insufficient for litigation," she said. "He hates waiting more than losing." After certification, Matthias took her to his limestone house on a square of old plane trees. It looked as if comfort had applied and been rejected. The housekeeper, Mrs. Kitt, showed Nessa a suite, keys to nearly every interior door, a new phone, a bank card, and a note from Anika. "Your counsel, not his. Call before signing anything, including apologies." Nessa sat on the bed and removed the white gold ring. It slid off easily. That evening, she found Matthias in the study over maps, loan agreements, and photographs of Henslow. He had removed his jacket and rolled his sleeves. A thin scar crossed the inside of his wrist. "Tell me what you really bought," she said. "Henslow's debt." "Before last night?" "Yes." "How long before?" 6 months. "And you never thought to warn the woman whose home was attached to it?" "You were engaged to Graham then. Approaching you would have given him and Pratt time to move documents." "You watched me?" "Yes." The bluntness hurt more than an excuse. "I have spent my life being managed by people who said the timing was complicated." "I know." "No, you do not." Matthias drew a faded photocopy from the stack and slid it toward her. It was a page from Henslow's disciplinary register, 16 years old. Nessa recognized her childish signature at the bottom, beside a name she had not thought of in years. Matthew Hale. The memory returned in pieces. A missing examination envelope. A scholarship boy accused because his blazer was secondhand, and his mother worked in the kitchens. Graham Fenner near the locked desk. Nessa, 14 and furious, saying she had seen him. Pratt punishing her for impertinence, the boy disappearing before term ended. "What does this have to do with you?" she asked. "My mother's name was Hale," Matthias said. "Lennox was my father's name. He acknowledged me after she died." The room lost shape. Nessa looked at him and saw, beneath the severe suit and cold composure, the thin boy who used to sit at the last library table pretending not to be hungry. "Maddie," she whispered. His eyes closed. It was not the reaction of a powerful man hearing an old nickname. It was the reaction of someone struck by mercy. "You knew me," she said. "Yes. You stood there last night and let me think you were a stranger. I was a stranger to your present life." "That is not an answer." "No. Why didn't you tell me before I signed?" "Because you might have said yes out of memory." "I said yes out of blackmail." His jaw tightened. "I know." "Then why did you do it?" His composure broke at the edges. "Because I have spent 16 years arriving too late." Nessa remembered Matthew Hale by the kitchen steps in snow asking whether a person became what people called him. She had told him no. She had said people with clean uniforms were not clean inside by miracle. "You waited?" she asked. "I built excuses," he said. "Scholarship reviews, anonymous repairs, quiet interventions that were easier than walking up to you and saying I had become my father's son and did not know how to stand before the only person who remembered I had once been no one. You should have told me. Yes, I cannot be the reward for what happened to you. I know. I cannot heal the boy by marrying the man. I know. And you cannot protect me by hiding every hard thing until it is legally tidy." His eyes met hers. "I am learning." Nessa needed air. She walked into the winter garden and stood beneath a bare pear tree until the cold entered her bones. Through the window, Matthias remained at the table, alone beside 2 bowls of cooling soup. In the following days, the audit became a war with stationery. Files vanished, then returned missing pages. Pratt took medical leave after issuing a statement about the emotional cost of leadership. Graham gave an interview saying he had tried to save Nessa from resentment toward institutions that helped her. Camille posted photographs of herself delivering blankets to the West Dormitory, though the blankets still had price tags and were removed after the cameras left. Nessa returned to Henslow on the 4th day against every lawyer's recommendation. Matthias accompanied her as far as the gates. "I do not need a guard," she said. "I know." "Then why are you here?" "Pratt changed the locks yesterday and forgot I own the debt attached to the doors." He gave her the master key without touching her hand. "Use it as loudly as you like." Inside, someone had written "thief" in chalk across her tutoring room door. Nessa stared at it, then wiped away only the first 2 letters. IEF looked absurd. A giggle came from behind the cloakroom door. Amity, the student whose notebook Nessa had dropped, emerged with 3 other girls. "Miss Arden," Amity whispered. "Are you going to prison?" "Not today." "Are you rich now?" "No." "But you married him." "That does not make my pockets magical." Amity nodded gravely, accepting this new financial principle. By noon, Nessa found the first proof in the snack cupboard. For 2 years, she had kept slips for emergency meals, bought when the hardship fund delayed reimbursements. She had hidden them inside an old biscuit carton behind the radiator grill. The carton was still there, dusty and warm, but now it held something else too. A bank approval transferring hardship money to Fenner Educational Futures, a consulting company bearing Graham's signature. The amount was larger than the annual meal budget for 30 girls. A knock struck the staff lavatory door. "Miss Arden," Graham's voice. "I know you are in there." Fear came first, hot and humiliating. Then anger burned through it. "This is a women's lavatory," she called. "I'm trying to protect you. Stop digging." She photographed the document. "Protect me from what?" "From yourself. Pratt will say you fabricated whatever you found. Matthias will tire of the scandal. Men like him do not keep inconvenient wives." Nessa started recording. "Did you keep me because I was convenient?" Silence. Then Graham said, "I kept you because you were almost good enough." The words should have broken something. Instead, they freed her from the last soft lie. She opened the stall door. Graham stood inside the lavatory, handsome in the blurred way of men whose charm thinned under pressure. "Almost," she said, lifting the recording phone, "is no longer available." She walked past him and nearly collided with Matthias at the drinking fountain. 2 security officers stood behind him. He had heard enough. She saw it in the way his hand curled once, then opened. "Do you want him removed?" Matthias asked. Not ordered. Asked. "Yes." That evening, Nessa returned to the limestone house with the bank approval, the recording, and hands that would not stop trembling. She expected lawyers and strategy. Instead, she found Matthias in the kitchen, sleeves rolled, standing over a pot that smelled faintly burned. Mate wa Mrs. Kit sat nearby with the expression of a woman supervising a natural disaster. "What is this?" Nessa asked. "Soup," Matthias said. Mrs. Kit coughed. "Aspiring soup. You were followed by reporters," he said. "I thought you might prefer to eat before discussing evidence." Nessa wanted a sharp answer, but the pot gave a tragic bubble. The absurdity of Matthias Lennox, terror of trustees, losing a battle with onions, caught her off guard. She laughed until she had to grip the table. His mouth changed. It was barely a smile, but Nessa knew it. Matthew Hale had smiled that way when she drew a mustache on Pratt in the margin of a Latin worksheet. The memory sobered her. "Did you keep anything from school?" she asked. His face closed. "Show me." Upstairs, beyond the study, a narrow door opened into a room she had mistaken for storage. It was not a shrine, as she feared, but an archive of interrupted lives. Henslow reports, scholarship lists, anonymous repair receipts, boxes of returned letters, bound by age-stained elastic. Nessa touched the top envelope. Her name was written in teenage handwriting. Nessa Arden Henslow Academy. Scholarship dormitory. Brackenford across the front. Red ink stamped. Returned. No student by this name. "There are 23, Matthias said. 6 I never sent because I became old enough to think your silence might be a choice. I never saw them. I know that now." "Since when?" "Last week. Before the marriage." "Yes." She stepped back. "You knew someone erased me from your letters, and you still did not tell me." "If I had told you in the library, with your aunt outside and seizure pending, it would have been another pressure." "So you decided silence was gentler?" "No, I decided every choice was contaminated and chose the one that preserved your legal options." She hated that the sentence was both cold and not entirely wrong. She opened one letter. "Nessa, they said you left. I do not know if that is true. I am at a house where people speak softly and look at me as if I am bad news wrapped in good blood. I think of what you said about names not making people clean or dirty. I am writing it down because I am afraid I will forget the sound of someone believing me." Matthew Nessa sat on the floor. The room tilted under the weight of an old cruelty neither of them had been tall enough to fight. "I thought you forgot me," he said. "I thought you escaped." His smile was bitter. "That is a generous word." She read 3 letters and could read no more. They were not romantic. They were worse. Lonely, a boy measuring the distance between humiliation and survival, one careful sentence at a time. He asked about her exams. He described a library he would build one day, where no child had to prove hunger politely. "Why did you wait for me?" she asked. "At first, because you were the only clean memory I had. Later, because Henslow kept putting your name in front of me whenever it asked for money, and pretended that was charity. Then because I saw you at 21 through a window, teaching a boy to read a bus timetable in the rain, and realized I had not invented your courage to survive my childhood. You could have come in. You were laughing with Graham. He was borrowing my umbrella and my notes. I did not know that. You waited because you thought I belonged to someone else. I waited because wanting is not permission." The answer undid her anger more effectively than an apology. The audit widened. Fenner Educational Futures was a shell company above a florist. Henslow had paid it for student resilience consulting, donor continuity, and legacy outreach, phrases that sounded respectable until Annika translated them into theft. The hardship money meant for meals, shoes, exam fees, and heating had been redirected into accounts linked to Graham, Pratt, and Eudora. The deeper wound lay in old disciplinary files, Matthew Hale had not been the only scholarship student accused before a prize or recommendation shifted to a full-fee family. Nessa's final year had been marked by an administrative withdrawal she had never authorized. That false withdrawal explained the returned letters. It also explained why her university scholarship vanished 2 weeks before results day, trapping her at the school that had quietly clipped her future. When Annika explained this at the kitchen table, Nessa didn't cry. She rearranged the documents by date, then color-coded them with Mrs. Kitt's sewing pencils. "You are angry," Matthias said. "I am alphabetizing my rage," Mrs. Kitt muttered. "Very healthy." Rage made Nessa practical. She visited retired teachers, former scholarship students, kitchen staff, and a pensioned bursar named Mrs. Lyle, who wept over lemon tea and produced a hatbox of counterfoils. "I signed what Pratt gave me after my husband's stroke," Mrs. Lyle said. "He threatened my pension. I am a coward, Miss Arden, not a fool." The counterfoils showed each grant request, each approved amount, and each altered transfer. Nessa carried the hatbox to Matthias's car herself. Reporters surged at the pavement. "Mrs. Lennox, are you helping your husband take over Henslow?" Nessa stopped. Matthias stopped behind her. "I am helping myself take back the truth," she said. Her voice shook, but it carried. "My husband has resources. I have receipts. Today the receipts are more frightening." The clip spread. People mocked her ringless hand because she still refused to wear the white gold band outside legal meetings. Others began sending messages. Former students, mothers. A man expelled in 1998 for money he never took. A woman whose shoe grant vanished after she reported a governor's son. Truth did not arrive like a trumpet. It arrived like a queue forming in the dark. The more Nessa fought, the less Matthias led. He arranged cars, but did not choose destinations. He paid investigators, but put their reports in her hands first. At meetings, when men addressed him instead of her, he looked at Nessa until they corrected themselves. It was infuriatingly effective. It was also dangerous to her heart. One night, she found him in the garden, chopping dead branches with unnecessary violence. "You could hire someone to murder that tree professionally," she said. "It is not dead. It may become dead if you continue helping." He set down the tool. "The dormitory had frost inside when you were there." "Yes. I funded window repairs the year after I turned 25. The girls called them Lennox miracles. I thought I was helping." "You were. It was 7 years late." Nessa leaned against the low wall. "You were a child when you left." "I became rich young. That is not the same as becoming responsible for every winter." His voice lowered. "It is hard to know where responsibility ends when guilt has been doing the measuring. My father used to say guilt is a poor carpenter. It builds rooms with no doors." He looked at her as if she had offered him a language. "What did Eudora do after he died?" he asked. Nessa almost gave the small answer. "Took money, sold books, called me difficult," but he had asked without trying to manage what came after. "She made me earn kindness," Nessa said. "If I needed dinner, I had to sound grateful. If I needed shoes, I had to prove the old ones hurt without seeming dramatic. When Graham noticed me, she called it luck. When he proposed, she said I should practice being easy to keep." The branch cracked in Matthias's hands. "That was not the tree's fault," she said. He dropped the pieces. "I would like 5 minutes with your aunt in a room without lawyers." "I would not. She would come out claiming you frightened her, and I would have to explain why I enjoyed imagining it." The almost smile returned. "Matthias," she said, stepping closer. He looked at her, as if his name sounded different in her mouth. "Did you love me then?" As a boy understands love. Gratefully. Desperately. With no right to ask for anything. And now? The winter garden seemed to hold its breath. Now I am trying to love you in a way that does not ask you to pay for having been kind to me." Her eyes burned. That may be the first frighteningly intelligent answer a man has ever given me. I can ruin it with another sentence if you like. Please don't. The next attack came from Bram Lennox, Matthias's half-brother, who arrived at breakfast without invitation and congratulated Nessa on her astonishing promotion from chalk dust to Lennox silver. Matthias rose. "Leave. And miss meeting the bride. Impossible." Bram tossed a folder onto the table. Photographs slid out. Nessa at 14 beside Matthew Hale in the library. Matthias watching Nessa through a tutoring room window years later. Anonymous donations tied to Henslow repairs. A narrative assembled from fragments, angled to look like obsession. "The board is concerned," Bram said. "The press may wonder whether justice has become a billionaire's schoolboy fixation. Conveniently, this goes away if Matthias withdraws the lien and sells Henslow's South grounds to our development arm." Nessa looked at one photograph. She and Matthew sat under the returned shelves, sharing a contraband orange. Matthew was not smiling, but his shoulders had lowered. Her own mouth was open mid-argument with the world. Bram mistook silence for fear. "You think sentiment defeats legal title?" he asked. "No. Documents defeat legal title. Sentiment explains why we bother finding them." Annika arrived behind him with 2 police officers. "Mr. Lennox, thank you for bringing potential blackmail material to a protected house. It saves postage." Bram left without kissing anyone, but the threat wounded. After he was gone, Matthias shut himself in the study. Nessa waited 20 minutes, then entered without knocking, because marriage, however strange, had made some doors mutual. He stood by the mantel with the childhood photograph before him. "I should have destroyed the archives," he said. "No. They can make this ugly for you." "They already have." He turned. "You did not ask for my past to become another rumor around your neck. You did not ask me to defend you when we were children. I did it anyway." His voice softened. "You were magnificent. Do not make me into a holy memory. I was lonely too. I defended you because you were innocent, and because I wanted the room to stop being cruel before it came for me next. That does not diminish it. It makes it human." He absorbed that as if she had handed him something breakable and true. "You could release me," she said. His face went blank. "Is that what you want?" "I don't know." He opened a drawer and took out a dark gray folder. Post-injunction dissolution documents. Property returned to her, regardless of audit outcome. Independent settlement. No confidentiality clause. Every page signed by him already. "You prepared this before I asked?" "Yes." "Because you expect me to leave." "Because I need you to be able to." A tear slipped down before she could stop it. "I don't know how to trust a cage because someone painted an exit on it," she said. "Then don't trust the cage. Test the door. What if I walk through?" His throat moved. "Then I will make sure no one follows you." That night, Nessa moved back to her school cottage. Not because she wanted to leave him, because she needed to know she could. For 5 days, she lived among her mismatched mugs and uneven floorboards. Matthias did not come inside. Each morning, a car waited at the lane in case she needed it. Each evening, reports arrived by email, addressed to her first. When reporters gathered at the gate, his security held them beyond the hedge, but did not speak for her. On the 3rd night, she saw Matthias under a street lamp across the road, watching only long enough to see her kitchen light turn on before leaving. She should have found it absurd. Instead, she stood at the dark window with the unsigned dissolution folder and whispered, "Maddie," to a room where no one heard. The final proof came from the school theater. Henslow had recorded prize nights on obsolete tapes and stored them in a booth behind the balcony. Amity overheard Pratt's secretary ordering the caretaker to clear old reels before the Lennox inventory. She texted Nessa 14 skull emojis and one word: urgent. Nessa reached the theater at dusk. Dust turned the projector beam gold. In the booth, Graham stood over 3 boxes with a utility knife. "You always did prefer locked rooms," Nessa said. He turned. "You should have stayed grateful." "For what?" "For being chosen. Do you know what you were when we were students? A charity case with good handwriting. I made you acceptable. You made me quiet. You liked being quiet. It gave you dignity. No, it gave you room." He laughed once. "And now you think Matthias loves you? He loves the girl who pitied him. He has been buying memorials to his humiliation for years. You are just the last exhibit." The words struck because they found a fear already waiting. "Move away from the boxes," she said. "You have no authority here." "Actually," Matthias said from behind her, "she does." He entered with Annika and a court-appointed archivist. For once, he did not look at Graham first. He looked at Nessa, asking without words whether she wanted him to intervene. She shook her head. The archivist opened the first box. The tape they needed was brittle but intact. Founders' Prize Night, 16 years ago. They watched it the next morning in Annika's office with an evidence technician present. The image flickered into a younger assembly hall. Nessa saw herself in the second row, hair uneven, eyes too large. Matthew Hale sat behind her, trying to occupy no space. On stage, Pratt announced the missing examination envelope. The camera caught Graham near the staff desk before the accusation. It caught Pratt seeing him and looking away. It caught Nessa standing, voice high and shaking, saying, "It was not Matthew. Graham had the key." The room on the tape erupted. Pratt ordered her to sit. Then came the part Nessa had forgotten. As Pratt dragged Matthew toward the stage, Nessa broke rank, ran to the bell rope, and pulled it with all her weight. The founder's bell thundered through the hall, drowning Pratt out. Once, twice, a third time. Teachers rushed toward her. Students shouted. In the chaos, Matthew slipped through the side door. The tape ended in static. No one in Annika's office spoke. "What did you remember?" Nessa asked Matthias. His voice was rough. "The sound. I remembered the bell ringing when I thought no one would dare interrupt him. I did not know it was you." Nessa touched her own throat. Children forgot their bravest acts, perhaps because remembering would require admitting how much they had needed bravery. The Education Charity Commission hearing was scheduled for the following Friday in Henslow's Assembly Hall because Nessa insisted the school should listen where it had lied. The morning arrived hard and bright. No rain, no forgiving mist, only pale winter sun exposing every scratch on the old floor. Trustees, reporters, former students, parents, and West Dormitory girls filled the chairs. Pratt appeared tragic in a wheelchair, though Nessa had seen him stand in a corridor 10 minutes earlier. Graham came with counsel. Camille sat pale behind him. Eudora wore violet powder-like armor. Bram lounged near the back. Nessa wore her own black dress, mended at the cuff. On her finger was the white gold ring. She had put it on alone at the cottage that morning. Matthias noticed when she entered. His face did not change for anyone else, but she saw the breath leave him. The commissioner began with polite language. Polite language had always been Henslow's favorite curtain. Annika tore it down piece by piece. Mrs. Lyle's counterfoils showed missing money. Bank records tied transfers to Fenner Educational Futures. The theater tape showed Graham with keys before Matthew Hale's accusation. Returned letters proved Henslow falsely marked, Nessa withdrawn. Former students testified about accusations that cleared prize lists for wealthier classmates. Amity, trembling but determined, explained Camille's staged blanket donation. Then Camille stood. Graham grabbed her wrist. "Sit down." She pulled free. "I knew about the blankets. I did not know about the money at first. Graham told me Nessa always exaggerated poverty for attention. Then I found the invoices in his apartment." Her counsel placed copies before the commission. Fenner Educational Futures had paid for Camille's engagement party, Graham's club dues, and a consulting retainer to Eudora for family liaison services. Eudora made a strangled sound. During the break, Bram addressed reporters. "This proceeding has been infected by my brother's personal fixation. Mr. Lennox married Mrs. Lennox after years of monitoring her. The public should ask whether this is justice or a billionaire's romantic delusion dressed as philanthropy." Cameras turned. The old fear moved through Nessa. Exhibit, charity case. Wife because a boy remembered hunger. Matthias began to stand. Nessa touched his sleeve. He stopped. She walked to the reporters herself. "You may ask whether my husband's past affected his decision to help me," she said. "It did. People are not machines. Memory moves them. You may ask whether he had power I did not. He did. That is why every agreement has been reviewed by independent counsel and why I have dissolution papers signed in advance." Murmurs broke out. Bram's smile faded. "But do not confuse his memory with my evidence," she continued. "A hungry boy remembering a girl who believed him does not create bank transfers. It does not forge withdrawal forms. It does not steal meal money from children. If you want scandal, there is plenty. Look where the receipts point." For one suspended moment, the hall belonged to her. Then Amity began to clap. The West Dormitory girls followed. Former students joined. The sound rose unevenly, unrehearsed, too loud for old wood and old rules. Matthias looked at Nessa as if the bell had rung again. When the hearing resumed, Pratt denied everything until the theater tape filled the large screen. His younger face saw Graham near the staff desk and chose silence. The Nessa on the tape ran to the bell rope. The recorded bell thundered from the speakers, and the real founder's bell above them trembled faintly, as if the past had put a hand on it. Pratt covered his eyes. By sunset, the commission suspended the Henslow board, referred the financial fraud for prosecution, froze all development negotiations, and appointed an interim public administrator. The hardship fund would be restored from seized assets and matched by Lennox money under independent control, not family branding. Nessa's name was cleared in the official record before the hall emptied. It should have felt triumphant. Instead, when everyone surged toward her, she felt 14 again and too visible. Eudora approached first, mascara trembling under violet powder. "Nessa, darling, you must understand. Graham handled the accounts. I was frightened. We are family." The word arrived wearing borrowed clothes. "You are my father's sister," Nessa said. "That is a fact. Family is what people do with facts." Eudora reached for her. Nessa stepped back. "No more." Graham waited near the side aisle, less handsome now than unfinished. "I did love you," he said. "No. You loved being admired by someone you considered beneath you. It felt like kindness because I was trained to accept so little." His eyes reddened. Camille turned on me. "You chose women you thought would be useful. How terrible that we became people." She left him there. Outside, winter dusk had turned the school windows amber. Matthias stood at the foot of the steps, speaking with Annika. When he saw Nessa, he ended the conversation and waited. Always waiting, she thought. But now it looked less like possession and more like discipline. "I put the ring on," she said. "I saw. Do not look as if I handed you the moon. It is a ring. I'm trying to look normal. You are failing." A breath that might have been laughter escaped him. She stopped at the gate. I'm not going back to your house tonight." His face went very still. "I'm not asking for dissolution either," she said. "I want a room that is mine, not a refuge from you, not punishment for myself. I want time that is not stolen, bought, or arranged by emergency. You can have that. I know. I am telling you before I take it. Thank you." She looked at the man who had been a boy behind her in a library, at the stranger who had become her husband because law was faster than justice, at the cold billionaire who had turned out to be cold, the way a locked room is cold after years without a fire. "Did you really wait for me all this time?" "I waited for many things without admitting your name was inside them. For enough power to never beg men like Pratt again. For enough control to make wanting harmless. For proof that I had become someone worth finding. You did not need to become worth finding. I know that when you say it. You should know it when I am not there. I'm learning that too." Nessa reached for his hand. He looked down, as if her fingers were a miracle he feared misreading. "I am not choosing the boy," she said. "I loved him with a child's fierce fairness, maybe. I am choosing to know the man, if he keeps telling me the truth, before it hardens into evidence." His hand closed around hers, careful, but no longer afraid of warmth. "And I am not choosing the girl as memory," he said. "I am choosing the woman who alphabetizes rage, frightens commissioners, and refuses magical pockets. That is an oddly specific vow. I have had years to prepare." She laughed, and this time he smiled fully. It changed his face so much, she understood why he had hidden it. A smile like that made a cold man vulnerable to weather. Spring came late to Brackenford. The old Henslow board was dissolved. Pratt resigned, and discovered resignation did not stop investigation. Graham's accounts were frozen. Eudora sold the house she had bought with other people's fear, but Nessa's father's cottage remained hers. Bram lost the South Grounds deal and the education trust vote. He sent one last message calling Matthias sentimental. Matthias forwarded it to Nessa with a note. He has discovered adjectives. Progress. Nessa did not move into the limestone house. She took 3 rooms above a closed bookshop near Henslow and filled them with uneven furniture, student essays, and plants she forgot to water until Matthias began leaving calendar reminders labeled Green Witnesses. She went to the limestone house twice a week for dinner. Matthias came to the bookshop rooms on Sundays and repaired things badly but with concentration. Mrs. Kitt said this proved devotion because paid experts were cheaper than humiliation. Their marriage remained legal, strange, and gradually less strange. They learned each other in ordinary pieces. Matthias disliked honey, but accepted it in tea if distracted. Nessa sang 2 lines of an unfinished song while marking essays. He woke from nightmares without sound. She left lights on in hallways without noticing. He kept a phone list titled, Ask, Don't Arrange. She found it by accident and cried in his bathroom, then emerged furious that his towels were soft enough to weaken principles. He courted her with permission. Not flowers delivered by assistants, but time. He sat through student debates about whether villains deserved footnotes. He learned the West dormitory girls' names and let them mock his handwriting. He told Nessa about Ruth Hale, his mother, who cleaned Henslow kitchens until illness made her slow and pride made her silent. He admitted he had bought his first school from revenge and spent years trying to turn revenge into something less poisonous. Nessa told him about her father's last winter, unpaid bills hidden under flower tins, Eudora selling his books 1 shelf at a time. She told him how Graham proposed after she helped rewrite his speech and how she mistook needing her for valuing her. She admitted that being cherished frightened her more than criticism because criticism was familiar and cherishing required trust in weather. They did not kiss until May. It happened in the school library after the first meeting of the new scholarship council. The old prize shelves were open. On the table lay the disciplinary register, ready for transfer to the public archive with annotations. Matthias had said little all afternoon, but every time a former student faltered while giving a statement, he moved water, tissues, or silence into place. When the last person left, Nessa found him by the fireplace, looking at the restored label under their class photograph. Scholarship class, including Nessa Arden and Matthew Hale, whose testimony helped restore the Henslow records. "Matthew Hale," she said. "Not hidden." "No," he said. His hand brushed hers. "Do you mind?" "No." Their fingers linked. The library smelled of dust, lemon polish, and gentle rain. For once, the sound did not carry humiliation. It was simply weather. Matthias turned toward her. "May I kiss you?" The question opened something in her. All the old rooms with no doors. All the moments she had been pushed, arranged, corrected, saved without being asked. He stood inches away, her husband-in-law but not presumption, waiting as if her answer could remake the world, because to him, perhaps, it could. "Yes," she said. The kiss was not dramatic enough for gossip. No one burst in. No thunder announced it. His hand rose to her face and stopped until she leaned into it. His mouth was warm, careful, and then not careful in the way trust stops apologizing for itself. Nessa gripped his sleeve and felt him tremble once, as if the years between library children and library adults had passed through him in a single breath. When they parted, he rested his forehead lightly against hers. "I have wanted to do that since before I understood wanting," he whispered. "I have wanted to do that for about 4 weeks, which makes me more sensible." Undeniably. By summer, the south grounds had changed. The old dormitory was repaired and renamed for its purpose, not a donor, the Open Door Residence. Nessa argued against any plaque with her name on it, until the girls demanded a small sign in the tutoring room that read, "Arden Table," because, as Amity said, someone has to be blamed for making metaphors compulsory. Matthias funded repairs through an independent trust and refused a portrait. The students drew one anyway. It made him look like a handsome undertaker holding a calculator. At the opening supper, families filled the courtyard with folding chairs, mismatched dishes, and the particular noise of people eating without fear that generosity would be withdrawn for poor manners. Former students returned. Some brought children. Some stood at the gate for a long time before entering, as if the school might still accuse them by name. Nessa spoke from the bottom step instead of the stage. "This place taught many of us to be grateful for too little," she said. "We are done with that. Food is not a favor. Heat is not a prize. A child's good name is not a decoration to be removed when convenient. The Open Door Residence exists because records were corrected, money was returned, and people who were once frightened decided to be believed together." She did not mention Matthias until the end. "My husband once wrote that he was afraid he would forget the sound of someone believing him. None of us should have to live on one sound for 16 years. So we are building a louder room." Matthias, standing near the back with Mrs. Kit, looked down. After supper, as the courtyard softened into summer dark, Nessa found him in the tutoring room beside the Arden table. "Annika says the dissolution papers expire next month, unless renewed," she said. He turned. There it was again, the effort not to reach before invited. "Yes, I can renew them. Do you want to?" "No." The answer came bare. "What do you want?" He came closer slowly enough that she could stop him with a word. "I want to remain married to you without any emergency holding us there. I want to wake in the same house when you are ready and not before. I want to fight with you about radiator budgets and terrible student poetry. I want to learn the end of the song you sing. I want years that do not feel like waiting outside a locked door. Her eyes filled. That is a lot of wanting. I have been accused of hoarding it. By me? By my therapist. You have a therapist? You said guilt was a poor carpenter. I hired a better one. She laughed and covered her face. He waited until she lowered her hands. I do not want to renew the papers, she said. Not because I cannot leave, because I know I can. The last light from the courtyard lay across his face. In it, he looked neither cold nor cured, only present. I love you, she said, not because you waited, not because you saved the cottage or froze accounts. I love you because when I test the door, you do not stand in front of it. And when I come back, you are not surprised I have a key. Matthias closed his eyes for a moment. When he opened them, they were wet. I love you, he said, not as a debt from school, not as proof that the boy survived. I love you as the woman who keeps making rooms louder, kinder, and harder to lie in. That is also oddly specific. I remain prepared. In September, Nessa moved into the limestone house with 7 boxes, 4 plants, and the cracked mug Matthias had inventoried too precisely. She kept the bookshop rooms for tutoring because independence, she told him, required rent receipts. He agreed and made a spreadsheet so detailed she threatened annulment on grounds of excessive columns. Their private wedding, the one they chose after the legal one, took place in the school library before the fireplace where the old class photograph hung. Annika officiated with the satisfaction of a woman closing a file properly. Mrs. Kitt cried into a handkerchief and denied it. Amity carried no flowers, only a stack of library cards on which students had written wishes, jokes, and demands for better biscuits. Nessa wore a simple ivory dress bought secondhand and altered by her own hand at the cuffs. Matthias wore a dark suit and the expression of a man trying not to feel too visibly. On a table nearby lay the returned letters, the disciplinary register, the theater tape, and the dissolution folder, not as shadows over the ceremony, but as proof of the doors they had opened and refused to lock again. When Annika asked if they had vows, Nessa unfolded one sheet of paper. I used to believe love was what powerful people offered when they wanted obedience to look beautiful, she said. Then a cold man gave me a key, a file, a choice, and soup so bad it became evidence of sincerity. I cannot promise to be easy to keep. I can promise not to mistake silence for safety anymore. I can promise to tell you when doors feel locked. I can promise to choose you when I am free and to stay free while choosing. Matthias unfolded his own paper with trembling hands. I used to believe waiting was devotion, he said. It was partly fear, partly grief, and partly a boy guarding one bright memory because the rest of the house was dark. You owe that boy nothing. You gave him enough when you rang the bell. I stand here as a man who loves you without claim to your past, your courage, or your future. I promise to ask before arranging, speak before protecting, and remember that a home is not proven by walls, but by the open door you can walk through and return to. Madeleine, Kit made a sound that was definitely not a cough. After the vows, they did not make a grand exit. They stayed in the library while students ate cake in the corridor, and former scholarship children wrote their names in the restored register. Near dusk, Nessa stood before the old photograph. There we are, she said. Matthias came to her side. Terrible haircut. Magnificent, you said. I stand by both statements. In the photograph, the girl and boy still sat beneath the shelves, unaware that years would misplace them, wound them, bind them, and return them to the same room, older and more honest. "I'm glad you waited," she said. He looked at her. She turned before he could misunderstand. "Not because waiting earned me, because somewhere in all those years, you kept believing there had been a moment when we were both worth defending. I needed that too." His hand found hers. Outside, the founder's bell remained silent. It would ring only once a year now, not for obedience, but for the reading of restored names. Nessa and Matthias stepped through the library door together into the corridor where children laughed too loudly and nobody told them to be smaller. The school smelled of chalk, cake, floor wax, and the beginning of rain. Her husband paused beside her, not ahead, not behind. For the first time in her life, Nessa did not feel chosen instead of free. She felt free enough to choose.